Hi guys, I'm Stuart and I'm a recovering addict and an alcoholic, and just for today I am 15 months clean. I want to start, I don't know why, but something just came to me during that last hymn and what Angela touched on about connection. You know, connection for me is massive. My friend there, Craig, every single day sends me, well, nearly every day, he sends me these words of wisdom and I pass them around to different people in the fellowship. It's about connection when we fall short. It says, when words fall short, a warm touch or a silent hug can speak volumes. Sometimes all we need is a quiet presence, hands held, a gentle rub on the back, and on the forehead, a kiss or even a whisper. I'm here. A long, heartfelt hug can melt the soul and let the tears wash in the pain away. Let it rain, let it heal, and that. You know, for me, connection is massive. I am going to stand here today and I am going to give you all of my war stories. I am going to dwell on the past. I'm going to touch a little bit on where I came from 15 months ago, and then I'm going to hit home to all you guys about what the 12 steps have done for me in my life. Not just for me, but my friends, my sisters, my brothers, my son, and my family. You know, 15 months ago, I was out there using crack cocaine, drinking alcohol, drinking and using lots of different mind and mood-altering substances. I was in and out of prison cells, police cells, and like I said, I'm not going to touch on it a lot. But you know, the thing is with the disease of addiction is that me personally, I suffer from a disease which brings fear, ego and pride into my life. And when I'm running on fear, ego and pride, I'm edging God out. And that's when I become, my behaviour comes out sideways. I don't care for people, I don't care what I say, I don't care what I do. All I want to do is get what I want in life. I don't give a second thought for anybody in my life, and that's even my son, you know. I could quickly cover things about, you know, my childhood, you know, trauma. I was sexually abused as a child. That's my past, you know, and that's what this 12 steps do for me. Yeah, connection to God, connection to you guys, being of service, doing this tonight, being of service to my own fellowship. Because I can't do this by myself. I tried in 2021. I walked the walk, I talked the talk, but I didn't surrender. Yeah. Due to me being homeless this time, and being brought through a homeless shelter within Leeds City Centre, I was taken to a recovery programme. It was owned by St George's Crypt. Can I say that here? Yeah. And they own a 12-step programme, treatment centre residential. And I have a sponsor in my fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. He's a good guy, but he doesn't mix his words. You know, it makes you work hard, it makes you want to commit to the steps. My sponsor said to me when I first met him, you know, you're not going to like me, you're not going to like what I'm going to ask you to do. And in the Narcotics Anonymous green and gold book, it's very thick, very in-depth step work. And he asked me to do 3 steps in 3 weeks. And at the time I could do that because I was in a treatment centre. You know, I had a structured life, structured routine, and it allowed me to do that. I asked him why, at the end of those 3 steps, why he did that. He says, because 1, it's the connection. It shows that you're ready, it shows commitment, and it shows good routine. Because the further and further you get into your steps, it gets harder and harder and harder to look at your past. I've said this to Angela many times, no one likes to look at themselves on paper. When I'm in addiction, I'm always pointing one finger at you. Yeah? All your fault. All of your fault. Not mine. But while there's one finger pointing at you, there's three pointing back at me. But in addiction, I don't see that. Because I'm selfish, self-centered to the core. Yeah? In that treatment centre that I was in, bearing in mind I was homeless, and I'd given me right hand for anything, I was still trapped in denial. I still hadn't surrendered. It took me 10 months. I was already at like step 8 or whatever it was at the time. And for me, my defects, my shortcomings, caused me a lot of pain mentally, caused me a lot of dis-ease. And the guy there at that treatment centre said to me, the manager, he says, Stuart, you've been here 10 months now, and I still don't think we can do anything with you. I was like, really? And as he explained to me afterwards, he said, it wasn't me having a go at you, it was me having a go at your disease of addiction. And it got to me, it really, really got to me. So he made a suggestion to me about doing step 10, which is, see, because me, at that time, I could quite easily cause a riot in an empty room, yeah, and without even thinking twice about how it affects other people. I was very impulsive, very compulsive. I always run on my first thought and didn't think about the outcome, as long as Stuart got what he wanted, when he wanted it. So he told me to go back to step 1. He told me to go back to step 1, and he asked me to look at question 13, and how it made me feel, and how it made other people feel. And when I looked at it and I got to the core of it, it was basically, I was very impatient, couldn't wait for anything, and I wanted it now. And as a fault of that, I used to take myself back to my room because I'd always been chastised and put in my place of, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. And I go back, and as an addict, I isolate, and when I'm sat in an isolated room, my head's going boom, 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 thinking of the worst outcome you can ever think of. And that was one of the best things that he ever did for me, was told me to go back to step 1, question 13. And I then started on step 10 inventory around everything that was related to my impulsiveness and my compulsion. And the more that you practice your step 10 each and every single day, the more and more it becomes at the forefront of your mind. So that you become more mindful about it. Yeah, it's a defect. Yeah, you can pray and you can ask God to remove it, but God ain't going to give it and take it away from you. You've got to do something about it yourself. Recovery is about action. Recovery is about putting the action in it, being able to do what you can do in that day and be the best version of yourself within that day. Not worrying about making mistakes. We all make mistakes. I'm not perfect, and I never will be. Yeah, I know that today. I accept who I am. I'm no longer in denial, and I've surrendered. Yeah. Thank you. So, let's touch on these steps because this is what we're here for. Andrew was asking me, to these guys, you guys, I don't know your journeys, I'm sure I'll get to know you a bit better. But just coming to our Father's house as wonderful and as amazing as it is, sitting here and listening to Angela reading about the 12 steps, it's not something you learn. You can't just sit here, listen and think that you've learned the 12 steps. It's not easy. That is not action. Turning up is amazing because that's connection. Listening and actively listening is amazing. But to sit here and think, oh, I'm on step 9, 3 more to go, and I'm free. Don't work like that. Really does not work like that, right? Step 1 for me, 2, step 3, right, yeah? You look at all your past, step 1, yeah? It's your first surrender, yeah? But each and every single step that you go through, your surrender has to deepen and deepen with every single step that you do, yeah? Because why are we here? We're male, we're just out there doing what we used to do. Yeah, we've got to surrender every single day. And I do that today. Yeah, I have a little chat, go upstairs and I say, you know, well, we have a chat anyway, let's put it that way. You know, and I offer myself to give service to other people every single day. You know, get myself out of the way and help others. And in doing so, that helps me. So, with step 1, 2 and 3, for me, yeah, it's about surrender, it's about, you know, building a relationship with a power greater than yourself, or God, or Christ, or whatever you want to call it, the universe. And then step 3 as well, that's still that strengthening that bond, it's the foundations to your life. My sponsor explained it to me and I thought it was crackers when he told me. It's like, you know, he said you dig these foundations and then eventually get further, and you can imagine having like landscaping your own gardens and stuff like that. I thought it was balmy. I really thought it was balmy. The way he explained how he surrenders and how he gets these foundations for life. What is the point of building a building with loose foundations? What's it going to do? It's going to collapse, it's going to crumble, and you're going to be back out there. You're going to be homeless again like I was. Yeah? So that's all about the surrender. That's all about getting ready for step 4 and 5. Yeah? Step 4 for me, you know, it's searching and feeling a small inventory of ourselves. Yeah? This is a tough one, but it's always tough when you procrastinate and you don't get on with it. Yeah? There's no point living in the past and there's no point living in the future. Don't work. You've got to walk through it. You've got to walk through it. Yeah? The amount of resentments I had around people, places, and things like this. Massive. But you soon see patterns that emerge in your step 4. For me, you know, resentment isn't really bother me these days, if I'm being honest with you. I'm not perfect. It might get me a little bit sometimes. But I know who's going to be in pain the most. And it's not you. Because I might carry resentment around for decades, and I have done. Yeah? But initially, the only person it hurts is me. You might not even know that I've got a problem with you, or I think you've got a problem with me. The only person who causes problems is for me. It causes lodges, as my sponsor says, it causes lodges to live in my brain rent-free. Just adds to that vicious cycle, that washing machine head that goes around and around and around and around. Which, again, causes that ill-ease, that dis-ease, which is why we talk about a disease of addiction. Disease of alcoholism. You know, it's the addiction. 1, 2 and 3 for me, like I said, is getting you ready for your 4 and your 5. Trusting in God and trusting in another human being to be able to share all of your nitty, dirty, horrible things, your secrets, your lies. And, you know, without a great step 1, 2 and 3, you know, your male won't even bother. To talk about, in NA they talk about 1, 2, 3 waltz. People do a 1, 2, 3 waltz, then they'll do and they'll go back out again, and they'll come back in again, and come back in again, and do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's what they'll do, that's what people do. But you know, I am no slave today. I am no slave to drugs. I am no slave to alcohol. And my life's amazing. I have a beautiful life. I've got great friends like that lad there. We can turn up for each other at any time and help each other. And we've done that last week alone. You know, I've got Angela that I love, I've got Chris that I love. And I've got my family back in my life that I love. And, you know, 6 and 7, step 6 and 7, you know, I'll make it simple. Try to be loving, caring and kind like God would want you to be. And when you make mistakes or upset people, just promptly correct your mistakes, apologise. Yeah, we need a bit of humility in our life. And not always expecting ourselves or thinking that we're always right. Because we're not always right. And even if we sometimes think we're right or wrong, just let it go. Just let it go. Yeah? It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, does it? In life. It really doesn't. Just takes up too much time in my life thinking I'm right or wrong. And that just consumes me. It consumes me to the core. That's 8 and 9, you know, 8 and 9, obviously 8 is obviously making the list, you know, getting ready for step 9, people that you're meant to. Step 9 is actually going out there and making direct, indirect, graveside amends, you know, to people that you've hurt and upset. In my case, for 35 years. It's a long time to be in addiction, that 45 a day. It's taken a long time to get to where I am today. And you know, I made an amends when I can. In my last relapse, my dad passed away, and we weren't really close, to be fair. It was too much like me. A functioning alcoholic who worked, but was when he drunk, or did whatever else he was, I don't know, wasn't a very nice person, just like I didn't used to be, you know. But that's his life, you know, I can't hold on to that. But yeah, he died when I was in active addiction, and I was in the West Midlands. I got a phone call saying that he died, and they were going to have a funeral for him and things like that. The day before I was supposed to go from the West Midlands to Yorkshire, I just couldn't sum up the strength to go. So I did what I did best, and I spent all my training money on crack cocaine and alcohol. Before I ended up coming back to Yorkshire, and you know, when I came back to Yorkshire, there was a little bit of money left to split between me and my sister and other brother from his will, and that was well over it. That was 15, 16, 17 months ago, something like 16 months ago, shall we say. And when I was told that I had to give some money to my dad's girlfriend at the time, I had to swear on him, I promise you. I said, flip that. She means nothing. You know, that's exactly what I said. She's having nothing. She didn't deserve it. That's because I was selfish. Well, about a week ago, moving 15 months on, I actually went to meet her, took a cheque, some money, and we had a really good chat. And when I walked into her flat, there was pictures everywhere of my dad. And I'd obviously not seen him for that long. When I walked into that flat, everywhere there was pictures of my dad. I just broke down crying. She started crying. We pulled ourselves together, we had a cup of tea, we had a chat. And I told her just exactly what I told you. That when I was very early in recovery, I said, not a chance of she getting any of that money. And I told her that. And she says, you know what? Because I believe time's a great healer. You know, she said to me, had you have come to see me, I don't know, a year ago, she said, I'm quite happily ripped your head off for what you did to your dad, what you did to your mum, what you did to me, you know. But as a result of that amends, which was beautiful, by the way, we keep in regular contact now. You know, we speak once a week at least. I'm still waiting for her to pick up phone and call me so I can take her out for something to eat, because I asked her, I said, shall we go for something to eat one night? And she's struggling a little bit herself still. So I am going to pass her, she'll give me when she's ready. In God's time, not in mine. Yeah? Well, I've already spoke about Step 10 and how amazing Step 10 is. And how it can help us pinpoint certain things within our life and where we, you know, where we do things wrong on a daily basis or where we're falling short. The Step 10 is an amazing step. It can really, really help. Just look at your day, you know, look at your day, how you've carried yourself, what you've done in your day. And it's a reflection of your day. So you can see, again, like I said, if you're falling short, so that in the next day, we can try and correct that mistake, so that we don't repeat the same mistake over and over again. Addiction for me, what's the definition of insanity, Craig?
The same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
There we go. There we go. Yeah. That's why we do Step 10. Because we can't just live day to day, doing the same old thing over and over again, but expect a different outcome. Just doesn't work. Does not work. Step 11, obviously, I'm not there yet. And I ain't going to touch on it. Because I don't do that. I'm not there yet. Step 12, I will touch on a little bit. Because well, Step 11 is like a maintenance for me, you know, Angela?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically maintenance of a day-to-day living. Yeah. Step 12, for me, it's just being of service. You know, that's exactly what it is. It's being there in that day and doing what you can. And I believe today that God speaks through me. God speaks through me, or God speaks through other people to me as well. And I'm just going to give you a little example. I spoke to Andrew about it the other day. So I live in Hamley, and I went into a vape shop the other day, and there was a young man working there in the shop, and he was sat in the corner behind the counter so high, and he was sat watching a laptop of the CCTV. I asked him if it was alright, and he said, nah, I'm really, really anxious. I said, why? He said, well, yesterday I had this guy come in. He was really nasty, and he said, you're going to come back in and give me a good hiding. So that fear that had happened that day before, it carried on into the next day. See where the fear is in life, it keeps us using, it keeps us trapped. It carried that fear on into that next day. And he said something to me. And I said, what? I said, what are you anxious about? So he obviously has told me. And then he went to me, but it's a fear of the unknown. And I thought, I said to him, are you in recovery? He went, well, I'm actually working with an outside agency at the moment for certain issues, shall we say, related to alcohol and drugs. And we had a right good chat, and he explained to him about, you know, different fellowships and things like that. And I says, you know, if you come to fellowships, if you ever want to come, here's my number, ring me, we'll talk. You know, I said, because when you're in a fellowship, you're never alone. Never, never alone. That's the connection again there. And, you know, as I left the shop, I asked him to come over. I says, in my fellowship we give hugs. I said, would you like a hug? I reached over the counter and I gave him a massive hug. And as I gave him that hug, I could feel his pain. My body went cold from head to toe. And then he said to me, I feel a lot better now. I feel a lot better. I think I took his pain. I think God wanted me to take his pain away for that day. And then he phoned me again. The next day I was at work, I had a shovel in my hand. And I said to my boss is my sponsor, I do a bit of volunteer work for him now and again. And I said, do you mind if I take this phone call? He said, yeah, of course you can. Which I was surprised about. This guy's online, isn't it? But be careful what I say. Yeah, he said, yeah, take the call. Took the call. And he apparently had an appointment with some sort of organisation. And had work cover his morning shift for him. But because he'd obviously been doing something that night before, he'd probably stayed up late and gone to bed late. And was late for his appointment. So he missed his appointment for his unmanageability, which is very prevalent in you know, in step one. And he just rung me. And I said, what's up? So he told me what I've just told you. And what can I tell you, boss? What can I tell you, boss? All I said to him was, just be honest. I said, just let me know what he said to you when you get to work. I said, I promise you'll be alright. So I messaged him later because he didn't ring me. I said, how did you get on? He says, nipples were cool, it was sound. I said, oh, there you go. I said, you've just been full of fear. Just being full of fear because you were trying to do your boss's thinking for him. Thinking I'm going to get sacked. Again, fear. But yeah. What I'm going to say really quick, because we've got a couple of minutes left, is if you all knew, any of you knew about, and you're starting in step work, do as I did, do as my mate Craig did, do as Alan did, and Jade's doing, you know, get yourself a sponsor, get yourself some service, get yourself some step work. What's the thought from Craig? Meetings. Get yourself to meetings. Thank you, because I forgot myself then. Get yourself to meetings, right? And live this stuff in your life. It's not an intellectual thing, it's an action program. Let me ask you this question, guys. I don't know who in this room suffers from the disease of addiction. Any more? There we go. Right. It's a disease of addiction. It's an action program. It's not an intellectual program. You've got to work this life into your life. You've got to feel it in your life. And do you know what? By doing the next right thing, the esteemable thing in life, right? 15 months ago I was homeless. Yeah. Today I have good friends, people that I love, people that love me. I've got my son back in my life, my mum's back in my life. I can make amends to people, and you know, life is just so worth living. Yeah. I wish I'd surrendered a long, long time ago. And I've also got a flat now. You know, I've got a council flat. It's taken me a lot of work to get a council flat, but I got that through action. I got that through staying connected to authorities. Yeah. Doing the next right thing. Life does not have to be hard. Life is never easy, but through connection, through fellowships, step work, and our friends, we can have a life beyond our wildest dreams. And I really, really mean that. Yeah? So, with that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for everybody for listening. It's been lovely getting to know some of you, and don't procrastinate. Get on with your step work. Yeah? It'll change your life and it'll change your families. Leave it there, thank you.